Mama, we made it!
What it
do, though? Bring. Everybody, welcome to the Mama We Made It podcast. By now, you've called your mother goddamn near 8 million times. I hope you told her you love her on a daily basis. Shout out to Mother's Day being 365 days out of this year. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest today. And when I say very special guest, it's like every Valentine's Day I think of sending him a box of chocolates and just letting him know that, you know, Mama said life is like a box of chocolates. I love this dude like a brother. We have Christopher Drama Pfaff on the motherfucking podcast. Let's go!
Let's get it!
Woo! For those of you that don't know, Drama's been on Robin Big, The Fantasy Factory, has delved into music, started an incredible clothing line called Young and Reckless, and has also started a podcast called Short Story Long. Y'all, make sure to check that out. We'll get into everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful conversation. As you all know, this is behind the scenes when the lights turn off and the curtain close, just a conversation amongst friends.
That's it.
And I'm so excited to get into this welcome drama.
Let's get it. Welcome.
Hey, man, thank you guys. That was a powerful intro.
I appreciate you.
You got a powerful vibe here. When you walk in the door, you got music playing. You guys got your little table set up. We got the street sounds, the ambient street sounds of Wilshire Boulevard.
You know what's really crazy about the street sounds?
What's that?
Is that 2 nights ago, I was over here eating Saffron and Rose Persian-ass ice cream at like 1:30 in the morning watching Netflix. And I heard this big-ass fucking kaboom. Bro, this street right here, mind you, Wilshire and Beverly Glen, is like one of the most dangerous like intersections, bro.
Wait, there's a lot of wrecks?
Family, I heard this humongous kaboom, okay?
Oh, man.
I was chilling there and I like walked outside and I'm trying to look and see like what happened. Did it happen right here? Next thing I know, 3 fire trucks, 2 ambulances, cop cars just right over there near the Sterling Tower.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I really wish I would have walked over there, but I didn't. I talked to my valet the next day, and
How
he
did
said,
you not walk over there?
I don't know. I was a little stoned. I was like ice creamed out. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to know. I told myself if I don't go over there, I'm going to feel stupid, and I definitely feel stupid.
No. I understand. If I smoked weed, I'm not leaving my front
door.
Bro,
one of the guys down there said 2 young kids were just mashing up Wilshire.
No way.
Hit a parked car.
Ugh.
And there were fatalities, bro.
No.
Yeah.
What a way to start off a podcast.
How wild is that? My deepest apologies. You know what I'm saying? I'm throwing we had boxes of chocolates and now we're throwing condolences
I was
out.
like, hey, I love Wilshire. And you're like, you want to know what happens on Wilshire? Death. Bloody death.
Crazy.
But look, for every death, there's a rebirth, and this is where this podcast comes into play.
There we are.
Get it.
Yep.
So, Drama, you know, in listening to podcasts myself, I heard like a very interesting story from Big Black on the Fighter and the Kid podcast.
Yeah.
And
when did he do that? Sorry to interrupt.
It was like, I want to say like a month ago.
Oh, recently.
Yeah, it was.
Was it a month
recent.
ago?
It was pretty recent. Dude.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
Go.
So he was kind of going into the whole, you know, Robin Big story and all that, but like he touched on something, and I feel like this is kind of like one of those crazy moments in life where, you know, as youngins, we're always, you know, especially in today, like where entertainment is bustling and cats want to be in music, fashion, like the whole lifestyle of all these things seems so glitzy and glamorous.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, in having these conversations with folks, you start to realize that it's either just choices that people make or opportunities that they seized, right? Like knowing that this one's going to take them down that line, but this one's going to take them somewhere. Right? So what was spoken about was that, you know, you were a kid in Ohio.
Yep.
You wanted to, you know, come out to LA, get your start in music, if I'm correct.
Well, I mean, wait, did Big Black say this?
Yeah, Big Black actually
he gave a breakdown of mine.
Okay, so he didn't give you a breakdown. He actually just noted on this fact that Rob had an assistant.
Yeah.
And it was talking about like how they didn't plan this, and like you coming on the show actually wasn't planned.
Yeah.
Because Rob had an assistant who fell madly in love with this girl.
Yeah, you told that story.
And then this girl, like it was like one of those guy moments, like a lot of kids go to college for their girlfriends or vice versa.
Yeah.
But
I gotta listen to it.
Yo, bro, you gotta
And
let
I
it
gotta
go.
see if I can go do their podcast. Too.
Yes, we'll talk with them.
Yeah, please.
They're homies. We'll talk with them.
I
I'd
just
love to get
that
you on
it
there.
came up. So sorry, I
So-
know that I'm being ADD here.
No,
but
all love.
Were they just asking for like kind of a breakdown of how the whole thing came about?
So
and he's
essentially, it was like this whole story, right? And then like they kind of got into the how Robin Big came to
Yep,
fruition,
yep,
right?
yep.
And then he kind of went into like the inner layers of how it wasn't what it seemed, and
Yeah.
how like they didn't know what the fuck was going on as it was going on, but it started coming out like really crucial and really clutch.
Yeah.
And the dynamic just built, and then how you added to that dynamic, and he kind of got into the fact of like it's crazy because you weren't supposed to be on the show.
The hell no.
So
So let me give you want me to give it to you?
Take me through that.
Because let me say this. This is what's funny. And I think if I ever write a book, hopefully I have a reason to, meaning hopefully my life pans out to be exciting enough. But a really important chapter will be the two girls that really...
And 0 cups, y'all.
2 girls, 0 cups.
Yeah.
that
I don't
really-
want any cups around you. You know what I mean?
No, there were no cups.
Okay.
And there was no puking or gagging or
Yes.
shit.
Thank God.
But 2 girls that really shaped my entire sort of life path. And that is number one, and I'll try to make a long story short here. Number one was that my brother, as soon as I graduated high school, I was supposed to move to LA with my brother.
Okay.
And we were going to get an apartment, and I was going to work at a skate shop. And I actually moved to LA to try to become like a pro skateboarder.
Really?
Right? Was really like my goal, right?
He's from Ohio.
Yeah.
What part of Ohio?
Akron.
Akron.
Yep.
When did
So,
you start skating?
when
Were you really good? Because you come from like a lineage.
Yeah, but I wasn't good enough.
Okay.
I was like 10 when I started.
Because Akron and the LA skate scene must be way different than the Akron skate scene.
Oh my God. LA is like the epicenter of, that's like saying the LA movie industry must be a lot different than the Akron movie industry.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel.
LA
Yeah.
is like the epicenter, and Akron is just like, it's not cool to skateboard there. It might be now.
Word.
Thanks to Rob, but it wasn't then. So I moved, really what it was like, look, I'm going to get a job in skateboarding somewhere. Like I'm going to work at a skate shop. I'm going to hopefully one day film skateboarders. I'm going to, whatever, take photos, whatever.
Word.
So I was supposed to move in with my brother into like a shitty little apartment, right? That was the dream.
Yeah.
What ended up happening was he ended up getting a girlfriend, and he wouldn't leave. He would not leave Ohio because it was his first ever girlfriend.
Really?
And I'm like, bro, you're crushing my dreams right now. Like I just graduated high school. All I wanted to do was move to LA. He wouldn't move.
He was your ticket. It
He was
like
my
all
ticket,
set.
my bro. Like, let's go. I can't get an apartment by myself.
Damn.
So I'm devastated.
Okay.
So finally, after enough time, what happened was when my brother was 18, my brother's 4 years older than me.
Okay.
When he was 18, he was way better than me at skateboarding. He really could have been a pro skateboarder. Rob hit him up because he saw how good he was, because we didn't really know Rob well, and said, hey, man, you're like incredibly good. You should come out here for the summer, live with me, skate, see if you can't get something going.
Okay.
So he did, and I was devastated, right? Because I'm 14. I'm like, oh, my God, like dream scenario. I'm never going to get this chance. Like, fuck, I'm the non-talented brother. This sucks. So anyways, getting to the point. So I'm sitting there. I'm 18. I just graduated high school. I'm like, fuck, man, my brother's screwing me. So I'm like, you know what, man, fuck it. So I just hit up Rob blindly. Like I said, we barely knew each other. And I said, hey, man, like, it's me, your fucking little random cousin. Like, I don't know if you remember, but when my brother was 18, you let him go live with you for like a few months and like whatever. Can I have 3 months and like see if I can't find an
What was that
apartment or whatever?
convo like for you? Were you just like, fuck it? Or like,
Yeah, it was just like, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of what to compare it to now. It was like, because I looked up to Rob so much and I didn't really know him well. I don't even know what to compare it. It'd just be like asking the biggest favor.
It's wild because like you see kids now, even in this like internet era, and cats just have a voice without any face to it, right?
Yeah.
Cats think that, you know, you and Rob being family, you guys were super close. He just opened the fucking floodgates for you.
Yeah.
So you
like,
had,
here's a clothing line and you're famous now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here's $1 million.
Of course.
This is wild to me because you guys were cousins and like didn't know each other, but this thing happened in Big Cat's life.
Yeah.
He got the little opportunity. So
Yeah.
you're like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. You're going to crush my dreams.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit Cousin Rob.
Cousin
up.
Rob. And I'm like, yo, bro, just give me the same 3 months.
Word.
Right? Like, I know
Just
I'm not
3
like,
months.
nearly as good at skating. I know I'm not whatever. Just give me the same 3 months. And it ended up being, what it ended up coming down to was, it was a month. Right. It was November 10th that I moved to LA.
Okay.
And I had until I had to go home, 2 months, until I had to go home for Christmas, which was obviously probably December 20th.
Yeah.
Right? So roughly 2 months.
A month and a half you had.
Yeah. And he said, yeah, you can come until Christmas and, look for a job and whatever. So, great. Oh my God, this is dope. I'm getting my chance going to LA. Yeah. So I come out. Keep in mind, my wildest dream is to get an apartment and work at a skate shop, right?
Yeah.
So come out. We end up becoming really, really good friends, Rob and I.
Okay.
And Rob now to me, no offense to my actual brother because I love my brother to death, but Rob really became like a big brother to me. He taught me a lot of what I know, not only about business, but about life.
Was this like instantaneous or like how this kind of just,
Well,
because like don't get it twisted, like you seemed very reserved back then.
Yeah, but that was, so I'll get into that.
Okay.
But I would say like I came and keep in mind I'm 18, he's probably at the time, I don't know, like 33 or something.
Yeah.
So we're like way off on age, but I don't know, we just got along. Like it was a very much like big brother, little brother relationship, but we just got along really well. And so we were hanging out and I was going out with them. Like I remember we'd go out to clubs and I'm 18, I don't know what the fuck a club is. And like Big Black and his big ass homies would just go to the door guy and be like, yo, he's good. And I looked like I was like 15. And they'd be like, yo, he's good. And literally the door guys would be like, all right. Like, he's good. I don't know. I don't know if this is the next Justin Bieber or like who this little fucker is.
See, this is such a funny LA experience. For your first experience, like coming out here and that's what you see is like your expectations like, I just want to be in LA and just get a shitty apartment. Instead, it's like, oh, I'm doing like super LA shit.
It was like, what the fuck? And that's kind of why I'll get into it, but that's kind of why my character was what it was on Robin Big. So really what happened was, so we're going to clubs and whatever, and they were just fun to be around. Keep in mind, this is Robin Big, but like the real shit when they really just lived together and were just homies, no TV show.
Yeah.
So they had already been talking to MTV, been talking to people, whatever. I think it was like, a month or so after I moved here that they started kind of getting cameras in the house.
Okay.
And really what they did at first was they just dropped cameras off at the house, literally, and said, hey, if any funny shit happens, just film it, I guess.
Word.
Like that was kind of like our first test.
Really? That's wild.
Yeah. So they did that, and, I guess we kind of started filming the pilot like right before I went back to Ohio, right? Or filming what would have been the pilot, right?
Okay.
So... yeah, I had no business on it. It was about Rob and Big Black and whatever. Now, finishing my two girls story, what happened was, it was probably like a couple days before I had to go back to Ohio.
Okay.
I'd gotten a job, not an apartment yet, but I was going to do that on whatever, Craigslist.
Yeah.
And Rob's soon supposed to be assistant was supposed to come up the next day from San Diego to move to film his part of the pilot.
Okay.
And the night before, he called Rob and said, yo, man, my girlfriend won't let me come. She's making me choose. Either I stay with her in San Diego and we stay together, or I move to LA and she's gone and I can't leave her.
Damn.
Wow.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. So Rob literally came out into the kitchen, like hung up the phone and was like, fuck, man, Nate just quit. And we're like, damn, I think maybe one of the producer friends were there or something. Oh, shit. And he's like, well, you want to be my assistant to me? And I was like, what? Like, what?
That's so crazy.
Yeah,
That's
and I was
crazy.
like, what? And he's like, you want to be my assistant? And I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't even know what an assistant does.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the streets here. I don't know fucking anything.
Was there like fear in you? Like what was that feeling?
Yeah, so I was just like, it was just way over my head, and I didn't even expect it. It wasn't even like something I was expecting.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was just like, that's not my job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to fucking do that. You want me to go, like, I don't even know where the damn grocery store is.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is crazy. So I was like, maybe, man, let me think about it.
Yeah.
Right? And so his friends kept coming to me and being like, yo, man, don't do it. Like, he's a little too, like, harsh when it comes to work, and, like, it's going to ruin your relationship.
That's
and you're not going
wild.
to be happy, and, like, don't do it. Like, trust us. And I was just like, man, fuck it. Like, I don't know. I remember him. The only thing he ever really said to me was like, I don't know. You might hate me for it, but like, it's your only way. Like, I'd like to have you involved in this stuff we're doing and in this TV stuff and all this stuff we're doing. But the only way that that's ever going to happen is if you work for me and you're in my world, right?
Yeah.
If not, it won't. So, I don't know, but it's up to you. So I was like, fuck it, man. What do I have to lose, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And then so I ended up, getting to the point, I ended up going home for Christmas. And then when I came back, it was like my real move in, right? That's when I came with all my real bags, and I got an apartment and worked for him. So thank God for those two girlfriends.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
One girl crushed your dreams and another one birthed your
But had it not been, this was crazy, had it not been for my brother's girlfriend, him and I would have moved together. We would have got jobs, and it would have been like Rob and I wouldn't have built that initial friendship that caused him to ask.
Wow,
he would have hired another assistant, right? So, yeah, it's fucking weird, but that's how it happened. And then that's what happened with his assistant's girl.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: so you're a kid from Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
Life has to be a lot slower over there. Like it just has to be like scenic, community driven, whatnot.
Yeah, go there tomorrow.
What was really visit a mom's?
Fucking boring. Yeah, I'm gonna speak at my high school graduation.
Really?
That's my mom's
That's incredible.
Dream.
She's like probably gonna take 10 billion pictures.
Billion. But that's like her dream.
Does she have Snapchat?
For years. Nah, but I'll be going live.
I feel you.
But
this is like one of those moments where she probably like would just get Snapchat so she could tell the world in real time.
Oh, it'll be all over like Facebook in old people language.
That's great.
But yeah, no, it's her dream. So this year I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Let me ask you this. So, I feel like so many people from around the world, and especially stateside, have this like dream about either coming to LA or going to New York. Yep. Like those are the two cities that, everybody aspires to go to.
Yep.
And a lot of people get here, with these ambitions and kind of get eaten up by the city because I guess it's one of those things where, they feel like they have to assimilate and they end up losing themselves in the process.
Yeah, I've seen it a million times.
What was it like for you, coming in here, coming to LA, having the scenario occur? Then you also came back to a show on MTV.
Yeah.
And also being Rob's assistant. So it's naturally pressure.
Yeah.
Right? Not only pressure like in the immediacy of the scenario, but also just like, we're in fucking LA over here. Like, what was that like for you? Like, how was that?
I can't even explain it. It's literally the only thing I can compare it to in my head is like going to war.
Really?
And you go to war, and like, even though it's fucking crazy and you can't wrap your head around it, you hear these stories about like these guys that are addicted to it and can't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can't leave, right? And that's how I felt. Like, it was like so crazy, and not to like, it's not like it was a bad experience, but I'm saying it was so much at once.
Yeah.
But then I really became addicted to it, like the action, and I think that's what made me like start the company and do all that stuff later, was because I couldn't let that progress stop or that action stop.
Okay.
But the point is, it was absolutely crazy. I can't even really properly explain it. It was 0 to 1,000.
Yeah.
And then I moved, and then you're filming a pilot for a TV show, and that's where my character was so incredibly like shy, right? Was because even when I came, it was still like, I remember there was a day when one of the producers pulled me aside while they were filming and said, "Look, man, like, you're not in this. Like, this isn't your show, right? So just kind of like steer clear a little bit, right? Because you can imagine if you two just started filming a reality show, right?
Yeah.
What's going to happen is all your friends are going to start coming over, and Rob used to have like a real open door policy back then. Everyone's going to start popping in to see what's up.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to try to get in on every little scene. And, I have my thing that's funny. And that really started happening. And so at one point they came to me and they're just like, yo, just make sure that you kind of do what you do, but let us live, let us film here a little bit. So I was like, okay. So what it really was that there was so much going on. I couldn't even wrap my head around the fact that there was MTV cameras and all this shit was happening. And I still knew I wanted my way in.
Yeah.
Like, I knew I wanted to be a part of this action.
Yeah.
And so that became my way in, was being the shy, like, oh, what's fucking drama up to? He's probably down there washing clothes and fucking up, right? And it was just like, yep, I am. Like, you want to fuck?
That's what I'm doing.
Like, what's up? I'm funny too. But yeah. So that was like really my in, and then once I found that in, I stuck to it because it's crazy, man. That shit is all about dynamic, and it's like if you don't. There was so many friends who wanted in on that show and just didn't get it.
Yeah,
because they just couldn't fit the dynamic of how that shit went. And there was room for me. There was room for me to be the cousin who just moved there, and I think people liked that.
Yeah.
And be the shy kind of whatever, and it worked well. But
were you conscious of that personality, I have to play this character, or was you just like, look, I'm just gonna kind of? It wasn't like an awareness.
It was yes and no. It was like, obviously I just knew my lane.
Yeah,
it's kind of like if you go right now and you have dinner with a good friend of yours, but that friend also knows Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
you're going to have a conversation if the conversation's open, but you're not going to be like, Stevie,
Yeah, what up?
like the big movie, right? It's like, your lane.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like I knew my lane in that environment and how that worked, and I knew not to step out of that lane.
Got it.
And I understood why it worked, and I understood where the comedy was. And there was time, obviously, as we went on, I wrapped my head around more and more like what it really meant and honed in on it, and it became more of kind of acting. But
Sure.
But there was a lot of times where, like, any of the really bad scenes, like there was one for my 21st birthday, they shaved my head like an old man. They did all this stuff. But anytime that ever happened, they would come to me first and be like, hey, we want to do this.
Oh, cool.
We think it'd be really funny.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay? Like, this one's a little crazy.
Are you okay with
like,
it?
are you all right?
Should
And
be
I'm
okay
like,
with it.
yeah. And like, literally, I don't think, it was probably, I don't remember one, but there probably was. There was probably a few where I wasn't like, man, that is funny. Like that sucks, but damn it, that's funny. Like me going to Vegas with my head shaved like an old man, wearing a suit and partying for my 21st birthday. Like that's fucking funny.
That's awesome.
Like how am I gonna be like, no man, I'm not.
You can't.
Like,
You can't.
no. So that's what it was.
Were you still thinking about like during that time, like you pursuing like your dreams, like getting a job or being a skater, or like what am I going to do as a career, or were you
At that point I was just on the fucking roller coaster, right?
You were just I'm taking this ride.
So here's what really happened. I hopped on the roller coaster, and like I said, man, I can't even explain to you how coming from Ohio, so small town, quiet, whatever, to MTV, to reality show, to then like you're going out, and I'm not even supposed to be going out to like clubs and shit. You're doing all that. There's obviously girls around. There's all this shit, and it's just like, what the fuck? So I'm just on the roller coaster at that point. I will say, like, probably after the first year of Robbin' Big is when I was like, man, I got to find my thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I need a thing. I can't just be like a reality star, right?
Yeah.
And that's where music came about.
Okay.
Because I grew up playing the drums. My dad was a drummer, whatever. So after like a year, I was like, man, you need, like I said, you need a fucking thing.
Yeah.
And so I went and I actually cashed out like where your parents, I guess like when you're a baby, people give you gifts and your parents put it into like savings bonds or whatever.
Yeah.
And the shit grows.
Yeah.
That has to be a white person thing, though. I don't know where my fucking savings
It's super,
bonds
yeah.
are.
If it's super white person.
Gotcha.
I had it on my bar mitzvah.
Really?
Yeah. I got like that was like it's just a bunch of these. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
where
my
are all these
fucking-
pieces of paper?
Where's
They're
my
like,
Persian
Yeah.
per mitzvah? Like, what's going on over here?
It's like after 18, cash them. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I think it was like probably for me to go to college or something, you know. But
Gotcha.
since I didn't
Yeah.
go to college, I literally cashed out like $2,500 and went and bought a keyboard.
Word.
Right, and that was my first like thing, right? And so I set that up in the house, in the Robbin' Big house. There's some scenes where you can see the keyboard in the fucking living room
Gotcha.
with Bose surround sound speakers for a television.
Really?
Where's my speaker set? Yeah, and you can see it in some of the old scenes. And that's where I started using those old drum skills to make shitty little beats, and I instantly went to the producers and started getting them placed on the show as background music. So a lot of the original like little jingles when you come back from commercial and stuff were my like first beats.
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
that's lit.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
that's
cool.
when I was like, okay, you guys figure out your thing. Like this is just a launching pad, but
Sure.
figure out your thing.
So
But-
that was the seed of like the entrepreneurial chess that you started playing because you wanted to add value then.
Yeah, and I've always played it, man. I was the kid like taking apart my bike and selling the pieces and having yard sales and going through my parents' shit and being like, what can I sell at a yard sale and having a
Yeah.
yard sale. And like, I got the money to move to LA from going around and filming a skateboard video of all the local skaters. And like my brother was one of the best ones, right?
Yeah.
So filming a video, I edited the video. It's called Point Blank. It's on YouTube right now. It's ridiculous.
I gotta go check that out.
Edited the whole video. I made DVDs of it, printed the shit at home, the labels, whatever. And then I did this big premiere at the local skate shop, and I invited everyone, premiere, the Akron kids, like our
Yeah.
video, blah, blah, blah. And so everyone came, and then you could buy the DVD at the premiere, right?
Awesome.
So I made,
Dope.
and I went around to all the skate shops and sold them the DVD.
Awesome.
So I made like $2,000. I thought I was rich. I
Yeah.
thought I had already had it figured
Yeah.
out. Came to LA, it was gone in a week. But I've always kind of had that.
That knack.
Yeah, and so that's when I came to LA and I saw them filming a show. I'm like, I don't know why, but I want to be involved in this shit.
Word.
And then this is cool, but I want to be making music or I want to be doing something. So that's where it started. But going back, getting a job, even the skateboard industry, those sort of things were out the window for me as soon as that happened.
Damn. And then how serious did you pursue music after that?
serious.
After that, so yeah, because I saw the studio that was built on
Yeah.
the show. I remember that.
Yep.
Why music? Was it just like because of you played the drums? You're like, I'm in LA, or did you always want to be like, I'm gonna pursue a career in music?
No, I really didn't. I played the drums in Ohio, and like I always wanted to like start a band or something, but there's no reason to start a band in Ohio. Nobody even fucking listens to your shit.
Yeah.
I guess the Black Keys.
Yeah,
exactly
I was going to say, except the Black Keys.
Yeah, which is insane. But there was no motivation, right?
Yeah.
It was just like, there's no payoff here. So when I moved to LA, I became friends with Terry Kennedy, who's a pro skateboarder.
Yep.
Got it.
And he had a rap group at the time called Fly Society. Their producer, Felix, became my good friend. So he's the one who showed me how you even can make a beat just on a keyboard and a computer.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, oh shit, like there's something here. So it just kind of naturally happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as how serious I took it, I mean, I really throughout Rob and Big, I was, I made the Dirty Girl song, the famous Dirty Girl song.
Yeah.
That's how all that music, there became a really heavy joking music element in all those shows. And it's because I was sitting making beats all day. And Rob would come in and freestyle joking around, and Big Black started rapping, and that's what happened. But
that's awesome.
But then I went on and fully made like a production company with a couple producers, and I had records with Trey Songz and Kelly Rowland and Yellow Wolf and some real records. I had that studio in the Fantasy Factory, which I was really at every night until 6 a.m. and took it pretty far, but just wasn't for me.
So what?
That aspect.
Well, why? Why exactly?
Here's why. Long story short is I keep in mind, say that a lot. That's why I named my podcast Short Story Long, because it's my excuse to actually be able to talk long.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that I was on this TV show and I wasn't really utilizing that to help market what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Because when you're making beats, you're still just sending emails of beats all day long and getting shit on all day long, and nobody gives a fuck that you're on TV. If anything, it's probably a negative.
Well, I was gonna say, because like, how did that affect like your career into that of your image on TV and who you were?
Yeah, not great. I mean, I don't know. I think here's what it did. I think I could invite people to the Fantasy Factory, to my neat little studio, and they wanted to do that. So that definitely helped. I think people are always a little bit more incentivized to take a meeting or sit down with a kid who's on TV, just because that's how people work.
Yeah. Sure.
But I think at the end of the day, just the credibility was less.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't cool. It was cool to come to the factory and to see the studio. It wasn't cool to say Drama from Fantasy Factory produced your hit record, right? It just wasn't. Mm-hmm. And not that that's, I mean, fuck it. I would have battled through that, but I'm saying I noticed that I wasn't really helping myself. I was kind of living two different lives. Like I was filming TV, and then I was sitting in the studio all night long, emailing beats, getting shit on, right? Mm-hmm. And so then I started Young and Reckless before I quit making music, but I started Young and Reckless, and that started taking off, and that worked with the show. And now I can use the show to promote it, and I can do episodes about it, and I can all this stuff, and my fans are going to the mall and buying my t-shirts directly. Yeah. So I just realized, and then when it started working so well, it was like, man, there's no way I'm going to be filming TV, running this clothing line, and sitting in the studio every night until 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. And so naturally the first to go was the one where you're getting shit on, emailing beats all day. It's just a lot of chasing money and a lot of whatever. So one thing that I learned early on that I will preach till the day I die is, like, you can't try to be like P. Diddy.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of people go wrong. Is like, you have a little bit of success in something, or maybe you have no success, but you try to do 27 things, and you just won't ever have success, or you'll take away from the one thing that could have been. So you got to kind of try a lot of shit, but when you see something working, you really got to pursue that.
Got it.
So that's what happened.
So let me ask you this: like, you started clothing, as you were doing the whole Drama Beat stuff, and you were filming the shows and all that. Like, what? Did you have help? Did you know what you were doing? Were you guessing?
Clothing?
And why even? No. Why clothing? Because like, you're in LA where there's like, you have the Fairfax scene, you have the Venice scene. Like, everyone's making shirts. It's like that was a thing. It's like, why jump into that?
I'll be really honest, because we're friends here. It was a combination of, once again, I need my thing. I need something that's going to make money. I need to start a business that's going to live beyond television. Mm-hmm. Clothing is something I can market. I saw how well Rob marketed for DC.
Sure.
I watched Big Black make millions of dollars off of Big Black clothing. I watched the checks. I watched him pull them out of the envelopes.
He actually talks about that too in his story.
Yeah, he made a lot of money in a really quick period of time, and I was just sitting there like, fuck. And then on top of all of that, on top of the opportunity, what I saw was at the time, it was really before like social media was super strong and whatever, is I saw all the cool brands like on Fairfax and all that stuff. But I saw the fact that those brands were not selling like to malls or to where I was from. And so I thought like, man, I know all the people these people know. I know these people. Yeah. So if I created a brand that had some meaning and had some depth and had all these same people wearing it, but I sold it to the old me walking into the mall in Akron, Ohio, there's a real lane there for me to actually make some money and create something.
Yeah.
And so that was the combination that forced me to start it.
Got it.
That's interesting because like a lot of people you would think who want to start clothing brands and like just the scene, it's kind of like music. Like you don't want to like have that sellout mentality. You kind of don't want to be in a mall. You know, you want to be in a shop on Fairfax.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's like it's just for some reason the whole part of it is like I'm gonna have a store in my spot. It's gonna be super exclusive.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because that's I mean, growing up in LA, that's the mentality that kind of comes with it. You don't want to be in a fucking mall.
Yep.
But you saying, well, I was from Akron, we didn't have a fucking Fairfax. We had malls, and that's where we kicked in. That was our home. That was even maybe part of your identity, skating and stuff.
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to be like, I have never wanted to be too cool for fucking anybody.
Sure.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm from Akron or because I have no idea why, but I've never wanted that. I've never wanted to be like the elite, like on Rodeo Drive or Fairfax, or I've never wanted to be that guy. I've wanted to be the guy who brought something cool to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I don't think like the owners of these streetwear brands are cool. I think the owner of H&M is fucking cool.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's some cool shit.
What makes him cool to you, or her?
Because
cool to you?
it's here's what I think. I think that there's a safety in staying small.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you're cool, but you're safe. It's like being cool like in your high school and thinking like, you know, it's like kids in high school that were the cool kids and like you really thought you were the shit. That means nothing for the rest of life, right?
Nothing.
So it's kind of like that. It's like, it's cool. It's really easy to be cool and protected at a really small level, but to really create something that for some reason, because it's cool, it's, the price is right, the opportunity was there, you really affected millions of people.
Yeah.
And created something fucking massive. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. That's my opinion. I think it's, you just want to live on a higher level if you can.
So it seems like you've been in a scenario where like you've just been willing to take risks. Like you've put yourself in scenarios or have gotten thrown in scenarios, but like you've always wanted to build upon them as opposed to, you know, oh, dope, like this is happening. Let me just bask in this for the moment.
Yeah, never.
So with clothing, you know, and the mind that you have, like you see a prime opportunity, it's kind of something like 100-fold better than a music game because you're not pitching people to come to the studio and vibe out and then have to deal with the industry as it is. But now you have a tangible product and a brand that you want to start. Yep. You have a platform that you can do it with. You just need a partner, or you just need somebody to give you the lay of the land. Naturally, you saw how Rob built, you know, was able to continue to build the empire that he's been building.
Yep.
What was it for you that like, who did you have help? Did you go to somebody? Was it?
And I'll give you the funny part. Sometimes I leave this out. Here's the funny part of the story is I actually went. So my business partner is a guy who you know very well, Noosh, named D. Murthy.
What's up, D?
5'4" Clothing.
Foshi.
54club.com. Sign up.
Hey.
And here's what's funny. When we were on Rob and Big, I watched Rob making millions of dollars from DC from all his sponsors. He started Rogue Status Clothing at the same time too. I watched Big Black cashing massive multi-$100,000 checks at a time. I was
on some basic merch too.
Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck, man! Like, give me something. Like, where's my piece? I'm third in line. What the fuck?" I literally, along with a few others, but I literally went to D and Andres and said, "Yo, man, like I'm on this show and blah blah blah. Like, if you give me $500 a month, I'll wear all 5'4." And they're like, "Nah, we don't really do that."
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, like third in line. I just like, damn, I can't even get $500 a month. And I was going around to people, $500 a month, nobody would do it. And I'm like, fuck. Now, funny thing is, had they just given me $500 a month, the Young and Reckless would never exist.
Sure.
No question.
Yeah.
Definitely would not. So what happened was then when Fantasy Fact, so keep in mind, Robin Big ends.
Yeah.
in our minds, we're over it. Like our reality TV days are done.
Yeah.
So I go on, like I'm going to be a producer, whatever. MTV comes back and says, look, we want you guys back on the air. Big Black had moved to take care of his kid. Mm-hmm. They're like, we want you guys back on the air, you and Rob and you, and you can do whatever you want, right? Just fucking come up with a show, do it, right? Rob came up with the concept for Fantasy Factory. We're off to the races, pretty much straight to series, like not really a pilot because they knew, whatever. Yeah. So anyway... So I was like, okay, here's my chance. Like now I'm second in line, right? Like I fucking got this.
I feel you.
So I'm like, come on, man. So I'm fucking racking my brain. I'm like, what is it? Couldn't come up with the name, whatever. Getting to the point, the first season we start filming, I don't have trademarks. I think I had just came up with the name, but I don't have my trademarks.
Got it.
So there's nothing to do an episode about. I mean, the way that show worked and Rob works and we all work it was all based off of reality.
Yeah.
Even in funny, stupid ways, it was based off of what we were actually doing.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to do a fucking episode about if you don't actually have a clothing line.
Yeah.
The part of the story is that I did, of course, go to Rob and say, yo, man, give me a clothing line. Like, you know how to do this shit.
Yeah.
Pull the fucking strings. And he was like, nah, man, like, I have too much shit going on. Like, it's just not whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I want to be clear whenever I say this, like, he wasn't dissing me. And thank God that he did that.
Yeah.
But he just truly didn't have the time or the energy.
Capacity.
And for his sake, I didn't sell the vision right.
Yeah.
So the point was, came up with the name, ended up going and getting the trademarks. I went back to D and Andres and said, hey, guys, it's me again, the $500 kid. And I said, this time we have this show coming out. Like, this shit's going to be a fucking hit. I'm second in charge on this one.
Yeah.
Let's partner up and let's do a line together. And they were like, okay, cool. We'll try that. So... it was incredible. I mean,
unbeknownst to you, like when they started 5-4, they had already done like a streetwear vibe called Hollywood Cartel.
Yeah. So I didn't know that, and here's the great thing is like they knew how to manufacture it and distribute it, and they knew like the ins and outs that I had no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And I felt pretty confident that I knew how to like make it a thing, market it.
Got it.
You know, and they didn't really know. They hadn't really had much success. With Hollywood Cartel, they had some initial, and so thank God for them. They were like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Who fucking knows? And we all just really went for it.
Yeah.
We had no idea what we were doing, but they knew the basics. I knew kind of the basics of what I wanted, and we went for it. And it was a fucking, dream team. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because this is something that I feel like, in biographies and stories, like little moments like these kind of get like brushed over.
Yeah.
Like it happened, this, that, and the other. Let me ask you this. So you had the idea for the show. You're seeing business deals go down. You're obviously seeing negotiations
for the line
go down.
You mean?
For just everything around you. Like Rob's doing his
No,
thing.
but I mean, I had the idea for the clothing line, you're saying?
For the clothing line,
yeah.
Right? So you went to the $500 kid with a new idea, right? But the $500 kid with a platform and a brand, right? And you're saying, I need help putting this out.
Yeah.
Take me through what I don't necessarily need to talk deal points, but how did you guys negotiate that figment of your imagination?
Yeah.
Like you knew it was going to be dope, right?
Yeah.
But then in business, cats have to work out a deal.
Yeah.
Right? So what was that process like? Because I feel like a lot of people in their entrepreneurial endeavors get crossed up and caught up in like the deal points and how do I get this to happen, or I don't know all the specifics of it and what am I doing, but then they hear like, okay, yeah, I met this dude, and then kind of they said yes, and then we said yeah, and then we kind of made it moving. Was there, so they said yeah, let's try this out. Was there a negotiation factor?
Not
was there
really.
like you having to like how do, in your instance, how did it work? Now even if it was just kind of like that hunky-dory, like let's just see how this works and we'll figure it out. But what was that like?
Here's how it went down. I mean, the good and bad thing about D, especially because D was really like the my guy on it, right?
Yeah.
He is very like, if it works out, it works out. Like that's kind of his attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when shit gets real, he's on it, right? Like he doesn't fucking play with that. But I'm saying
a hustler's hustler.
But he's very much like good energy, good vibes. If we're meant to be partners, we will, and it'll be fine, and blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of that way.
Okay.
Now, there was some negotiation, and there was some, there obviously is operating agreements and contracts, but my advice, which is pretty much what we did without getting into details, is split it.
Word.
That's my biggest advice to fucking everyone, is like people come into these things, and it's like, I don't know, man, you got to know... you got to know where you have leverage and know where you don't.
Yeah.
Sure.
And for the most part, if you're starting a business or anything with somebody, fucking split it. You know, because there has been times, sure, when yeah, D and them couldn't have created Young and Reckless without me. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I deserve 80%
Sure, yeah.
of fucking everything, right?
Yeah.
Because I sure as hell couldn't have done it without them.
Absolutely.
And there's no chance. And so, you know, that's where a lot of people go wrong, man, is they something becomes kind of real and they start digging into their value.
Got it.
Like, nah, fuck that. I want 80%. I want blah, blah, blah. And like I said, for all intents and purposes, the thing split across the board. And that's how a lot of my stuff is. Because if you can't do it without the other person, then
what's the point?
yeah, then just fucking split it. I don't know. But that's
Word.
a big piece of advice for
Got
mine.
it.
But so yeah, there was a negotiation process and whatever, and obviously there's way more details to it, to that sort of agreement than that. But like I said, we both equally benefit
Absolutely.
from the success, and we both
You guys came to a
equally
mutual
get
agreement
boned by the
and it was a
failure.
wrap.
Yeah.
But the fact is, you guys did it. I think that's where so many people get it like misconstrued, and also just don't even pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Because they're so worried about, well, what about this and what about that? It's just like, look, like if it's gonna work, it's gonna work.
Yeah, and I couldn't be fucking happier. There has not been one single day when I've thought, man, this shit's cool, but I should have got 10% more.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel you.
It takes away from the vision.
Yeah, and there's just like, I've never done it. It's never like, you won't, because when you actually go through the grind and you actually fucking put the work in and see the work that the other people put in, you don't regret anything. It's just like, man, we are all winning together because we did this together. So I don't know. That's my best advice. Anytime you're kind of starting from a similar situation and trying to just start something, like don't feel yourself too hard, because it'll ruin the entire thing. I know it's the old cliche saying, but it's better to have 50% of something than 100% of nothing, right? It's just so fucking true. The reason why it's cliche is because it's true. You can repeat it all day long.
Now, it's crazy. And also, like, I was always kind of an advocate. I used to play in a band for a really long time, and songwriting would always like come up, right?
Yep.
Sometimes, like, you know, I always felt like if you were like, oh, I want 8.75% and you'll get 15, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yep.
It like takes away so much like incentive.
Wild,
it like people start doing things for the wrong reasons because it's like, oh, I'm going to try to force an idea just so I can get my percentage. Like, what are you
talking
doing?
About splits out of nowhere.
And that's a real thing. But I've always been an advocate for just like, yo, if we're going to build this as a community or as a team, you know, just make it even so it's almost you're not thinking about that.
And it's the only way, because at the end of the day, like, the magic comes from the fucking magic, right? Like, if you start talking about money and splits and all that shit right away, you're going to kill what would even potentially make the thing great.
Yeah.
You know, the only way it's ever going to be great is from truly coming up together, there not being any bitterness, any resentment, anything like that. It's the only way. At least I'm a firm believer. There are some people who fucking bully their way through life, and some people who've gotten really rich from it.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it hands-on. I've never learned that way.
It's crazy. What do you think throughout, like, going from making the transitions to being on TV, to music, to fashion, what's probably been one of your lower points, like one of your failures?
Oh, man, there's been a lot. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say like an exact time or moment. But there's been a lot. I mean, there was the time when, you know, like I said, the Robin Big phase. Now, this is early on. I wasn't really owed shit. But like the Robin Big phase where I was making $0 off of Robin Big, I was watching all this money being made around me. The music stuff wasn't working. And obviously that was like my first taste of like, just because everyone around you's making money doesn't mean you're not going to if you don't fucking figure it out, right?
Yeah.
I'll say also there was a really big time after, like, my biggest fear was tying the brand to the Young and Reckless to the show, and the success of the brand relying on the show, right?
Gotcha.
And so there was a time when there was like a massive gap in between seasons because we didn't know if we were going to do another season, and the clothes literally stopped selling. And we were like, fuck, like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is your worst fear. It's over. Like, me and Dee actually got into like a yelling argument with each other that the whole office could hear, which I'll make sure I never do that again. Yeah. And where he's like, the shirts just aren't fucking selling. Like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, it was literally, and like, I remember opening the door and everyone's like, the shirts aren't selling? Like, what the fuck are we doing working here, right?
Oh, shit.
But that was a time when I really thought like, man, this is all over. And like, you thought you were like, you thought you really had something and you just don't. But there's been a lot. There's been a lot of, there's even challenges that happen now with retail changing and with all these things where you go home some nights and, the good thing about this kind of creative, whatever ambitious brain of mine is like some days you feel like you're on top of the world and you can do anything and that's what causes you to create a company or to do whatever. But on the other side of that, you have days where you feel literally like you're worth nothing and nothing's working and like it's all over. I mean, I do that often, but
how do you deal with that? Like just like internally? Because I'm sure like everybody sees this and all these successes and like they see like, you're friends with everybody, but like there has to be moments where you just feel alone.
Oh my God, yeah. I think as I've gotten older, like I've just learned to deal with it because I know it comes and goes.
Sure.
But yeah, in the beginning you just dealt with it because there's no other option really. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of like, there's a lot of stuff that comes with like being on TV and a lot of people that are around for the wrong reasons and a lot of people that want to work with you. And doing that at a young age, you start to like, not trust people and you start to feel like everyone, and like I said, it's not some like crazy story, but you do have those days. And then you just have my natural sort of bipolar brain that just feels like a loser a lot of times, but you just know, I mean, it passes. Then you wake up the next morning and you're blaring fucking Drake and dancing around your house in your boxers. Like, I'm about to kill it today.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have good days and you have
bad days. It's like ebbs and flows of life, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's I think mine and a lot of people's, some people's are more dramatic than others.
It's interesting because like a lot of what we talk about too, like in this podcast is this very kind of like area of art and commerce, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's music, whether it's fashion. How important is that to kind of marry those two in, because a lot of people are like, I had to make the switch because I wanted to make money. I was tired of being broke. Or sometimes you sacrifice your art to make money or but you have to find the balance, right? And I've never been a fan of the term sellout, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's complete bullshit. But like I always am interested on people's perspective who like, one, being an entrepreneur, building a business, but also building the business based on art.
Yeah.
And how you have to kind of like live in that delicate world a little bit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of your credibility depends on that. How do you?
100%. And that's the challenge, right? That's why. That's 100% the challenge. And to me, that's the balancing act that happens on the way while you're growing something. And the goal for me is as big as you can grow things while still keeping the integrity or the art element is the goal.
Yeah.
And I think that similar to my streetwear comment, it's easy to be a broke artist, right? It's fucking easy.
Yeah.
It's not very easy to be a rich person with no talent, but it's fucking stupid. But my point is like it's easy to like be like, oh, I'm a painter, and like, but are you a painter if you're not? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So to me, it's like how big can you make things without ever losing the integrity? Mm-hmm. For me, Young and Reckless, I created it to really stand for something and to really be, the voice for young people and kind of the I can do everything and fuck anyone that tells me I can't live my dreams or I can't overcome this obstacle or whatever. I'm going to do that by any means necessary, right? And that's kind of the life that I lived, and I wanted to kind of be able to embed that into other things and way larger scale. I mean, we've worked with people who've done it on a way larger scale, and and I enjoy doing it. But the goal for me is how can I make it $100 million, global brand, but still when a kid in China puts it on, he still kind of feels that way. Mm-hmm. If you can do that, to me, you've really, really created something special.
Yeah. But that's a very different, like speaking on integrity.
Yeah.
And also just like putting it in the perspective of like, even in this, creativity versus commerce world is that you're naturally growing as a person, right?
Yep.
Your brand is evolving with you. Mm-hmm. The people that loved your brand years ago aren't the same person today. Mm-hmm. You're in a stage now where your brand is going a little more premium. Like you have to consistently want to wear your brand and still be a figurehead in your brand for it to be believable, right? It's not just like drama left and whatever would have you. How has that been for you in keeping the integrity and kind of like building the integrity within yourself, but also dealing with the backlash of like the consumer that, I feel like it's like a musician, right? Like you get used to a sound or you get used to a product and a brand.
Yep.
And then naturally we're human beings and we grow and we evolve.
Yep.
But you're going to leave people behind.
Yep. Here's the reality. 100%, and I don't have any confusion about this. My brand is not me in the sense of Young and Reckless is 16 to 24.
Okay.
And what I'm here to do with my brand is tell people that you need to disregard the rules, go out there, do what you want to do by any means necessary, fuck what anyone says, and I'm going to help you dress and look cool while you do it. Right? But one day I'm going to be 40, and I'm not going to be making Dockers and expecting my kid to wear it.
Yeah.
So what I'm really doing is I'm evolving the clothing with the times.
Got it.
And with what's going on and what's relevant. I'm not, and I'll never misquote this, I'm not like some big fashion designer who will never change my, like the power for me is in the brand.
Got it.
And the value of the brand is that we can always be valid with the times.
Yeah.
Right? That's where I look at people like Zara, who do an incredible job at their clothes looking like it's, $10,000 stuff
insane.
off the runway. They have it before the people even got it off the damn runway.
And it's like $65.
Yeah, and it's like $65. That's fucking incredible to
Yeah.
me. So to me, if I can create that, right? I'm on trend. It looks cool. It's affordable. Good quality. And it makes you feel empowered. And we offer you good content and we offer you good stories and that's something, you know what I mean? That's what I want to be a part of. So that's the trick with me. The trick is more so keeping up with the times and keeping up with the prices and keeping up with whatever. A lot of people go wrong by being trapped in their own shit.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It just so happens that where the trend went is also how I dress. Right? Like I was wearing John Elliott and I was wearing all these kind of basics brands and it ended up that the rest of the country went there too.
Got it.
And so thankfully more of the Young and Reckless stuff started looking like what I was wearing anyway. And so I was wearing it more anyway. So now it's a fucking dream come true, right? But had the trend went to bright screen printed fucking baseball jerseys,
you would have been there.
I would have only worn it in photos.
Yeah.
And I would have put on a blank gray t-shirt when I left. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not me. That's where you can look at countless brands who have failed where it's just the owner thought they had too much say. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that shit ain't cool. Like, well, yes, it is. Unfortunately, like that's your job is to create. I want to create a brand for the world, not for myself.
Got it.
That's
an incredible distinction.
It's an important one. All you young entrepreneurs, and it was one that I had to very boldly and blatantly carve out in my brain because naturally when you're on TV, everyone's following me, right? And they're reacting to me and they're reacting to what I say. But you have to understand, I had to come to grips with the fact that I am not a rapper or an artist or you know what I'm saying? I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to dress, like kids don't get out of bed in the morning and say, I'm going to school today and I'm going to look like Mark Zuckerberg. Like they just don't, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't dress up like, I'm going to be Richard Branson today. They dress like fucking Drake and like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. So I realized that. So another thing I never did was took myself too serious and thought like, okay, well, it's me now. And all these kids are responding to me.
Wake up in the morning, look at the mirror like,
like today we're going to make fucking bandanas around your pinky. Like, fuck that. So anyway, But I think, like I said, it's important. It's the biggest challenge in life. Art and commerce. That's the game that I love to play. Not everyone loves to play it. People like to be broke artists, and for them, that's great. People like to be really, really rich fucking assholes who have nothing to offer this world. A lot of them are right down the street on Rodeo. That's their prerogative. That's fine for them. But for me, that's the great challenge.
Got it.
So
you seem to have been taking all of these challenges like with incredible just gusto. You're at a point in your life where, you're making money. You want to put yourself in positions where you can make more impact, whether it's through your brand, whether it's through ancillary things that you're doing, like you've started your podcast.
Yep.
I'm sure you have different endeavors that you're dipping and dabbling into, being, surrounded by the brilliant minds that you are.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Do you feel like you've made it? Like what does success look like to you? Like, do you feel successful is success something that you're always going to be chasing? Like, what is that for you?
I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to figure that out at this point in my life.
Okay.
I think that for a long time, probably for almost my entire life, where I'm at today is technically success.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that I noticed, and not to get too deep here, but I think that I noticed, like, when the TV kind of came to an end and when the brand's successful and it's working, like, I don't know, I guess it freed up maybe some mental space or maybe a little bit of time or whatever. And it really made me realize, not that I'm very, very far from unhappy.
Got it.
But it just kind of gave me some time to think, like, man, you did this TV thing that you never thought you would do that.
Sure.
You created this company. You're making money. That's stable. What really is, what really, really makes you happy?
Yeah.
So for me, I think that the answer is, and it's something that we always hope that we'll get, but I don't know, man. It's
a tough question because I feel like there's no answer. Like every answer is.
Well, let me say this. Let me just say this. I've never met anyone that said, you know what, man, I found it. And if I have, they're fucking weird. Just like do yoga all day. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that. If that's
taking crystal baths.
Yeah,
and shit.
Fuck that. That's it. I don't want to find that shit.
Yeah.
I've never found anyone that's been like, yeah, I think part of what this is part of the great game here is like, you don't realize that the success is the fact that you're actually still looking for the next thing,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
And that's what I'm kind of finding peace in a little bit more as I go. And I feel like there was a time when I was young, I started making money, bought a fucking Lamborghini. And I just thought like more,
yeah.
right? And I think a little bit more as I've gotten older, it's like, man, like you enjoy, the real joy is in the fucking journey and
Absolutely.
is in like chasing this thing and is in trying to answer that question. It's enjoying to sit with you and be able to debate that issue.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think, like I said, the best I can get to telling you the answer is I think that it's being stable, being happy with what you do every single day, and being able to constantly play the game and stay challenged and stay excited. And, that's to me is a successful life.
Incredible.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of people. Success is definitely not dollars. That's a fact.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just one of those things like, in these hubs, like I love when people say like, oh, LA or oh, New York, all these different things. It's like it's all relative, right? Yeah. But it comes to a point where, from what I've seen and kind of what you've touched on incredibly is that like success really has to do with how you see yourself.
Yeah.
As opposed to, but we're in a world where, especially in Los Angeles, and it's like entertainment, like all eyes on you, and also kind of the road in which you've traversed is so many different eyes are on you. Like so many people are looking to you for this, that, and the other. Yep. Your friends are seeing all of these types of things, whether they're doing it themselves or they're kind of latching on, and that, and they're kind of, you're in this scenario where you have to like keep so many different, personalities, and you have to be a certain type of person. And I feel like people lose themselves in that process by basing their self-worth on what they're viewed as opposed to being able to just like wake up in the morning and be like, fuck, bro, I don't want to go to the club with you on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Or like, no, or I'm at the club and I'm like, texting my girl.
Yeah.
Or just want to be out of there. And I'm not like raging with y'all, but I'm not like crying in a fucking corner. Yeah. But you're asking me if I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm okay. I'm just not like wilding out at the club anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like, you're a type of person that's very self-aware. And it has been able to, go through these things, albeit through trial and tribulation. But, you're very centered with yourself. Like, how's that been for you growing as a person and also knowing that, maybe other people's expectations of what, who you were or who you aren't necessarily, it's not their right to distinguish that.
Yeah. I mean, here's my opinion on it. It's been a fucking really interesting journey for me. I'm incredibly thankful. I mean, keep in mind, like I've moved to LA. I've fucking been on TV, seen what a little bit of fame is like. Not to mention, like being shot out of cannons and attacked by fucking sharks and bulls and like all this crazy shit. Like sometimes I literally now will go watch old episodes and be like, fuck, man. It's like having a crazy home video of like the time you got attacked by a shark. It's like, what the fuck? So it's kind of this crazy thing. And then I did notice like a little bit of a phase where like I felt like I was trying to play myself.
Yeah.
And not play myself, but you know what I'm saying? Like I was trying to become myself. Yeah. And it was a very short phase, but it was a phase that I do feel like happened. And I think that I've learned a lot through the entire process. It's been fucking interesting. I kind of forget the original question. What was the original question?
The original question was just like, how is it for you?
Like, how is it?
Yeah, I mean, you answered the question.
Weird. I don't know. It's just like
it's one of those things. It's like growing into your own, but also knowing that like the people that you've grown up with like are expecting something of you, or even like the community. In general.
No, it's just fucking. I don't know. It's cool, man. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it in the sense I've been able to do all this shit. I've created this company. I've done a decent job. I still feel like I have a lot of shit to do.
Absolutely.
I feel like I can do it. I honestly believe that. I've lived a lot of different lives already, and I plan to live a bunch more. But I think that I'm in a really good spot where, you know, I don't care anymore about who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's cool that the show is gone, and it's just something I did because. Also, like, you know, there was a little bit of, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't. Like, there was a hunger in me to, like, get past that. Like, get past being Rob's cousin. Get past being the little homie.
Just
get
that
past,
identity, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and
Do you
I think
that really pushed you forward as well?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And then I did, and now I have, and now it's kind of like, oh, shit, okay, you've done that. You don't have anything to prove. And, like, you know, I mean, I'm just being able to be a little bit more of, like, a normal dude.
Awesome.
And it's cool, man. I've had a really, really interesting perspective on this shit. And that's why I'm now doing like the podcast. And eventually I do want to write a book and like, just cause it's fucking interesting. I don't know. It's stories worth telling and worth sharing, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Crazy, man.
You're incredible, bro.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Check out Drama's podcast. Short story long.
Short story long.
Get it.
And let me know, like, you know, obviously we're fucking good friends and we see each other every day. So,
Absolutely.
like, as you go, we can, cause like what I think I'm going to do with mine is like, as people I know are doing new exciting things, or maybe something happens, just have them back on.
Yeah.
So anytime, you know what I mean, I'll pop in.
For us, that's what we tell everyone, because it's like, it's about the journey. And the whole thing, I mean, to what Anush was saying, is like, there is no fucking end point with success. There's no end point to the journey. It's like, I think it's like, at first it might be the dollar, like, oh, I got rich. Well, I'm rich now. And then, but that doesn't feed the happiness sometimes. Or it doesn't feed just the hunger to be like an entrepreneur or to create or to build, you know?
No, I agree.
It is about the journey. So like, I think the drama a year from now or even 6 months from now is probably going to be a different person than we're speaking to today.
And that's where the fun is, man. I'll tell you that because I've seen all sides of it a little bit. And like I said, not to be dramatic, no pun intended, but like I've seen the bougie rich side. I've seen the hungry up and coming side. And like, the fun is in the fucking hunger, man. And like, obviously everyone wants to know you're going to be able to pay your bills, and you're going to be able to eat, and you're going to be able to whatever. But like, the real joy is in the fucking hunger. And some of the like most depressed times I've ever had were like at the end of vacations or at the end of long times just sitting doing fucking nothing, just being rich, right? Like, oh, I've just done nothing the last 3 days, but fucking drive around in my nice car and stare at my watch. Like, the fuck, that shit is stupid. So, I don't like those scenarios, and you know, the joy is in the beauty is in the struggle, as J. Cole and a million other people said,
bro. It's like, look, like we can have multiple destinations that we want to get to, but it's like, you know, don't forget that the best part of this life that we're leading and this life that we're living and these dreams that we're chasing is chasing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Let me tell a quick story, really shitty probably, that my friend told me the other day. And I tried to tell this on my podcast the other day, and I had to delete it.
Really?
Because I told it so poorly. So let me give a disclaimer that if I tell it poorly, delete it.
Okay. You got it.
My friend told me the other day was that, you know, this guy, these group of really rich businessmen go to this island, right? Let's say Barbados, on vacation. And they decide to go on a fishing excursion. And so they go out on the fishing boat, and there's this nice, you know, local guy, and he takes them out on the boat and whatever. And they get to talking as they're out at sea, and the rich, you know, these rich fucking, you know, assholes. Are like, hey man, you know, what's your name? You know, and tells him his name, and they say, well, how long you been doing this? He says, oh, you know, 5 years. And they say, well, why don't you get another fishing boat?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why? And like, well, then you have 2 fishing boats, and you have double that, you know, you hire a guy and blah, blah. Well, and then what? Well, then you get like 4 fishing, right? Blah, blah, blah. Then what?
Yeah.
Then you start your own company, and then you run the whole island. Everyone that comes here has to go fishing with you. He's like, well, then what? And they're kind of sitting there in this little bit of standoff, and it's that the answer is that then if he does that successfully, he could be just like them, but
These
go fishing
assholes.
every day. Yeah. And that's what he does today.
Yeah.
He goes fishing every single day, and he does what he loves every single day, and he doesn't have to be rich.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was
He
something
already
where,
is rich.
yeah, where these guys were like, where's your, where's your, and that's where, that always
I
comes
love
to mind
that.
on the success question, because like, for me, the balance is in the middle.
Yeah.
I want to be the rich asshole and the fisherman.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't know if that's possible, but that's my goal.
Yeah.
But what I'm
that.
saying is there are people who are just live normal fucking happy lives and are happier than a lot of these rich quote unquote successful people that we deal with every single day.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, man. I think it's about finding what is your thing, where you are happiest.
Yeah.
And that's where the success lies.
And get after
I
it.
love that story.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, I don't know the proper. That still was kind of shitty, but it was like that was like medium shitty.
Yeah.
But it's good enough to leave. But it was better than I told it on mine. But there's like a better ending. But it's the theory of like,
Absolutely.
well, fuck, I could do all that work to go fishing every day. And
Exactly.
right now, what I do is I go fishing every
Yeah,
day.
and I don't
Like,
need to think
fuck.
about 16 other boats and people that I'm managing. Like, I'm doing what I love.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that dude.
Drama, where can people find you on the interwebs?
I pretty much own all things drama. So you can find me on Facebook at Drama, Instagram Drama, Twitter Drama, Snapchat Drama. Short story long podcast on iTunes, youngandreckless.com. Yep.
My brother, it's been incredible having you. Thank you so much for
thanks
giving
for
your
this, man. I
time.
Yeah,
enjoy
man,
it.
super
You know what I'm saying?
grateful,
This is
dude.
amazing,
Yeah,
and I
thank you,
can't
guys.
wait
Yeah, seriously.
for people to actually hear your story, man. This is beautiful.
Man. Yeah. I'm going to be telling
Let's
it over
go.
and over until somebody listens.
You better believe it.
Thank you, guys.
Mama!
Mama, we made it!